so 2019 was when I had pretty bad, like real bad depression. It hit December and I realized that I did not have one good memory for that year. I'm not into, New Year's resolutions or anything like that, but I was like, okay, if I've got not one memory, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one thing a month that takes me out of my shell. It just forces me to do one thing out of the house. By December, I will just have 12 good memories. And I literally came out of that year a completely different person. But it was just purely because I just wanted to create some memories. And in turn, I just created a whole new life for myself.
That momentum and that graded exposure just starts with the path to least resistance always wins, whether that's a good or a bad thing. And just starting off with something so small and so tangible, and then what's the next thing? Because I think a lot of people have been in those dark places, and there's probably people that are still there now that just need to start at the bottom of the mountain rather than looking at the top and going, how am I going to get to the summit? It's like, just put one foot in front of the other. Krystal, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
This one is going to require initially a little bit of imagination. It's a hypothetical scenario.
Okay.
So let's say you book a flight and we meet on a plane. You don't know who I am. Mm-hmm. In an alternate universe, we sit next to each other and we get chatting, we have a conversation. And I ask you inevitably, what do you do for work, or what do you do? Mm-hmm. How do you describe it to me?
For me, it's very simple. I'm an online and in-person coach. So physique coach and transformation coach. So that's pretty much all that I do. But I teach people how to continue on without a coach as well. So it's more I teach. I'm a teacher, mentor in that space.
And I think it's a good way of describing it, because sometimes it's hard to explain beyond the label. Because I think sometimes if you go into the outcome, people go, oh, are you a lawyer or a surgeon or something like that? And I think it's good to tell people, hey, well, this is my job title. And if I guess, followed up initially, just to carry on the scenario for a moment, with what differentiates or separates you from me thinking, hey, you're a personal trainer, you're a coach. What would you say to that? Like, what could you do for me that would be different to, I guess, the general personal trainer that I could find in most gyms?
Okay. Well, for me personally, I see there are two different aspects to it. And I think that is just because not only have I been doing this for as long as I have, but also I've had coaches and mentors myself. So the two ways I look at it, a personal trainer is someone that you've got in the gym that you've got for that one session. Whereas a coach, one, I'm going to teach you what to do, but also I am obsessed with all of it. So as in, like, I'm checking with you outside of the gym. We do weekly check-ins. I'm on that whole journey with you, opposed to just you paying a play and you rock up and I just, I'm not there to motivate you or anything like that. So that's probably the biggest differences between what I do as a coach opposed to maybe what a on the floor normal personal trainer would do. Yeah.
Makes sense. You mentioned the word obsession, and I think it's a good word, because a lot of people who strive for greatness and achieve something that's exceptional, they do become obsessed with what they do. Do you remember where or when, and maybe both, your obsession for this started?
Fuck, we're going way back. Am I?
We can do
Am I
what
cool to
it.
swear? Okay.
Oh, you can.
Cool.
There's no hold bars on this podcast.
Okay, going way back. Okay, my first obsession would be probably. So I'm 36 now. My obsession would have started when I was 21, when I actually did my first competition. And I got obsessed with how we can manipulate the body, even just through training and through nutrition. So for me, I think because I got a result at such a young age, for me, it just like sparked like, holy shit, like we can physically change with two major concepts alone. So that would be where, definitely where it first changed for me.
And did you know at that moment when you were experiencing that change, and like you said, it almost felt like you had a light bulb moment, like, wow, you can actually change the mind, the body. Did you know then and there, this is something that I really want to pursue, or I want to do this for other people at least?
At the time, I was actually PTing at the time. So, but I then went years away from it to come back to it. So, yeah, so definitely at the time. And so obviously this is going back, I would say 2010, 2011. So I think maybe with our generation when we grew up, it was kind of like, you go to high school, then you go to university or whatever, white picket fence. That was kind of what we were grown up with. So I think when I first got into PT and that, one, I did not run my business successfully. It was more the business ran me. So I obviously got out of it that way, and I also lost the passion at that time. I think from putting maybe into the wrong clientele, chasing the wrong clientele. And so I think for me at the time, work didn't feel like work, and I was under the impression that work, not that you had to hate your job, but you had to feel like you were working. And I think because I didn't feel like I was working, that whole a day in my life, I thought that it wasn't sustainable and that I had to have that kind of career. So left it. Still had, clients on the side and stuff like that, but left it as my main thing. But then obviously to come back to it because the passion, the drive, everything was always there.
What did you learn in your time away, even though, like you said, you're still working with clients, but you weren't doing it full time, you left to do something else. What did you learn and realize in that time that brought you back to the thing that is obviously the main thing that you love and what you do today?
Probably just my journey as I became an adult, really. It's crazy because in my early 20s, I definitely had a lot more. It's like I knew who I was very young, but then through my mid 20s, I kind of lost that. But could have possibly been because I had given that side up of myself to then kind of lose myself for a while. I actually became a different person in regards to I started second guessing myself. I lost so much confidence in myself, but as in in my thought process to then kind of come into my 30s and then relearn kind of who I am. So I think there was definitely, throughout my time, I was trying to get away from something to then obviously come back to it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think probably just trust your gut is probably what I learned from it. If you have a goal or have a vision, keep just going for it, even if you don't believe that you're probably worthy of it. Keep going for it.
Sounds like maybe there's a little bit of imposter syndrome.
Oh, definitely.
Going on, and then like you said, finding your way. Maybe there was some impressionable people that made you think a certain way about things. Then, like you said, maybe going away from it and going, well, actually, no, coming back to what felt right.
Yeah.
And realigning that.
Yeah.
There were some changes.
Oh, definitely. Well, I think the thing that's crazy, right, is in my early 20s, my parents used to even say oh, Krystal, do whatever Krystal wants to do. Because I was kind of like that. I went on my 18th birthday, I went and got a loan, on my 18th birthday with no help at all, just snap a decision, I'm going to go get a loan. Next minute, I'm going to go buy a car, come home with this Nissan Silvia that I started doing up, hadn't spoken to anyone. My dad came out and he's like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, I used to do a lot of stuff on my own. And I think that definitely on-flowed to, being able to do these things. So me getting into PT quite young, for me, I never felt it was a risk because I was young, because I was always like, oh, if I fuck up, I can go and do anything else kind of thing. But I think probably as years kind of rolled on, kind of also probably having people around me that were probably more scarcity mindset, that kind of on-flowed into, oh, I have to second guess everything because I can't fuck up because I only have one life kind of thing. So I think that probably held me back a lot to then when I decided, and the conversation for me to get back into PT was you're in the shower, like having a shave up. And I'm sitting there
Still
on the toilet.
doing a manscaping.
He was manscaping. I was sitting on the toilet, not going to the toilet, but I was just sitting on the toilet. And I was like, so I fucked up. I shouldn't have gone back to full-time work. I should have, yeah, I think you actually said you need to get back into coaching. Because the plan was when I had obviously left, my plan was to then obviously not continue on with online either. And I did continue on with online. I could not get rid of my clients, but I didn't want to. I still wanted to work with my clients. I still had that passion and I still kept it going. But then, yeah, that was kind of when I had that realization where I was like, oh shit, I should have actually stayed the course. And yeah, I think you said it to me. You're like, oh, I think you should actually go back to PT. And I was like, yeah, I think I should.
Yeah, I think going back to what you said before about a gut feeling, it's a really big thing. It gets thrown around a lot, but I think as we become more experienced in life, that statement becomes more true, and we actually understand what that really means. We hear about it, but then as we get some experience, we go, actually, no. Oftentimes, if it doesn't align, or there's something telling me, or the heart of hearts is a really good one, like in your heart of hearts and your gut, like when you really get through to that and remove the noise. It's like, if that's telling me to do something, I should. And I saw that, I think that conflict in you, I was like, wow, like I really feel like this is something that you continually love. You're generally passionate about it, genuinely passionate about it, and you want to pursue it. And it was just like this dichotomy. And I was like, look, I think go all in on this. And I think you look back at a lot of people that have been on a journey with the thing that they've found a passion in, a purpose in, a life in, a career in. It's not always this perfect story of just, it's a one-hit wonder. And it's not about who's had the worst story, and it needs to be really complicated because everyone's journey is different. But oftentimes you do have to do a few other things. And arguably, it's probably good that you did do other things and come back to it, because then you 100% knew, you're like, yeah, this is the thing I love. Yeah. Where how can you ever know if that's the only thing you've ever done? You might love it, but how do you know that you love something more if you've only ever tried vanilla? Like, you need some level. You can't try everything, but you need some level of comparison. And I think maybe that helped in your mind. Maybe, the conversation helped push you in the right direction, but I think you knew deep down that you needed to get back into it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was kind of like when I started to relearn who I was again. That was kind of the first thing that came out was, I need to be doing this again. So like we've spoken about my journey through like when I did hit that depressive state, the on flow of that was when to talk through it. So 2019 was when I had pretty bad, like real bad depression, to the point where I went to work. I was working at the bank at the time. I worked at Commonwealth Bank, and they were so freaking supportive through that, which was amazing. So, hit depression pretty bad to the point where I was still doing my job. I was still, still at the bank. But when I was not at the bank, I was at home binge watching every series on the weekends. Wasn't talking to anyone. Wasn't really speaking to family. Was just, pretty much on my own. And when it had gotten really bad and I had a massive breakdown at work, I was then put on a care plan. So it was kind of the start of it. When I got to December, I think the only thing that actually got me out of it was it hit December and I realized that I did not have one good memory for that year. And prior to that, I had broken up with my partner at the time. We were together for a few years. Great man. But that just didn't work out. So we had broken up. I was still recovering from having a hernia strangulation, so I was not training as I normally would be. So there was so many other little on-flow effects that kind of led to that, and as well as personal family stuff. So so much had kind of led to that moment. So with that whole year being like depressed and not really realizing that I was just obviously just numbing myself. By December, it dawned on me that I did not have one good memory for that year. So my big thing, and I'm not into, New Year's resolutions or anything like that, but I was like, okay, if I've got not one memory, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one thing a month that takes me out of my shell. It just forces me to do one thing out of the house. And if I just stick to that, if I just do one thing by December, I will just have 12 good memories. And that was the only reason why I was doing it. I wasn't doing it for any work purposes or for, I want to do this for my body or anything like that. So that was my goal for 2020. And in January, I had a credit card and I just bought myself some skincare. Like that was all that I did. I was like, I'm just going to buy myself some skincare. That's one thing I was just at least doing for myself. So I was like, cool, one good memory. Like, just got some skincare. So I started with that.
Get some wins on the board.
Got a win on the board. February, I went to Cairns and caught up with a friend. And it was like it was a spur of the moment conversation. And 2 days notice, went to Cairns. Cool. That was my thing. March, I then hired a coach because I was like, okay, I need to start looking after myself because in that time I went down, I was doing, because I was so lost, I was doing everything under the sun. Like I was doing keto, I was doing, like low carb, I was doing all the fucking shit that I've always preached not to do, but because you're not yourself, you're scrambling onto things because you're drowning. So so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to take this off my hands. I'm going to hire a coach because I physically or mentally cannot look after myself. So hired a coach. By April, I started to I was training again. I was tracking my lifts. I was obviously eating on a diet plan because I just, it had to take all that mental strength.
Structure, accountability, yeah.
Yep. So by April, I was like, I'm going to jump back on stage. I'm going to do a show. And then literally, I think because I started to become who I was again, everything just started to flow. So competed at the end of the year, bought my car during the year. So many things happened. So from January being absolutely fucking bedridden, not speaking to anyone, just, being a shell of a person, to then by the end of the year having competed, done really well, came second in my shows, and then also leaving the bank, going back into PT, not only through that, having, when I went back to PT and I was telling my dad, bless his heart, I was saying, I'm going to leave banking and go into PT. And he's like, no, don't do that because of security, all the rest of it. So all the stuff that I had left beforehand, I had to then be like, no, I'm backing myself. Like I'm quitting. I'm doing it. This is what we're doing, kind of thing. So that also had to come up through that journey as well. And I literally came out of that year a completely different person. But it was just purely because I just wanted to create some memories. And in turn, I just created a whole new life for myself.
Yeah, I like how just starting with something so achievable and so small from a place where everything was so chaotic, it felt like the world was closing in on you. There were so many, I guess, obstacles, right? For lack of better terms, like you said, even with your hernia. And a lot of people find themselves in this dark place, and it's the opposite of momentum. It's when the dominoes are falling the opposite way and they're not even falling at all. If anything, they're falling on you.
Yeah.
And you're just clutching for a little bit of light or something. And like you said, you just started with one thing. It was that skincare. And you just made that promise, like, right, I have no good memories. I want 12 good memories by the end of the year. It doesn't matter how big or small. I start with that one thing. And I think there's a really good lesson in that. And I was just thinking when you were explaining that, how that momentum and that graded exposure just starts with the path to least resistance always wins, whether that's a good or a bad thing. And just starting off with something so small and so tangible. And then what's the next thing? And it's like getting up and making your bed in the morning. It's like, how could that ever lead to success? Well, it's not that. It's the action of building the habit over time. And then, like you said, you built momentum, and then before you knew it, and you didn't even have that intention, right? You just said, I just want 12 good memories. It wasn't like, by the end of the year, I'm going to be this, I'm going to leave the bank and go back to PT. You were just like, look, I just want to create some fucking good memories.
Yeah.
And I just want to do some stuff for myself and look back and have those positive memories. And it started with that. I think that's really cool. Because I think a lot of people have been in those dark places, and there's probably people that are still there now that just need to start at the bottom of the mountain rather than looking at the top and going, how am I going to get to the summit? It's like, just put one foot in front of the other and just start with a win. And if it's getting yourself some skincare or making your bed in the morning or picking up the phone and having a call with a friend, sometimes that's all it takes.
Definitely.
So going back to that time, you know, through the depression, was there anything else that you took out of it now that you look back on that you kind of use in your everyday life, day to day, even with coaching, maybe not for yourself, even with clients?
Well, okay, so for myself, what I take from that is that someone who's suffered with depression, we always have, like, you never overcome depression. So, and I think that depression to everyone, like, depression is different to everyone. So what I've learned from my depression is I've learned my triggers. So I've learned kind of what sometimes it can kind of creep up without me being aware. So if I'm really tired, if I've had like a massive week with clients, and if I've not checked in with myself, I will naturally start to maybe, you know, if I'm watching episodes and one episode kind of turns to 2, turns to 3, then I'm like, okay, I can start to catch my patterns of how I'm trying to like numb out the world kind of thing. So
I
then
can see that pattern happening again.
Exactly. So I will catch myself early. Or if I feel like with everything, communication. So we've got great communication. So I also know that if I feel internally, if I'm not okay, I always say, like, I always tell you. So I'm always like, okay, cool, I'm slipping. And that's all I need to say for you to then be like, cool, what do you need? How can I help? Like, how are you feeling? Things like that. So definitely for myself, communication's a huge one. And also me constantly having to check in with myself because, yeah, with depression, you can never really overcome it, but you can manage it if you know what your triggers are. So I'm really, really big on that. So that's pretty much what I've taken away from it for me. And also with clients, I can definitely see if someone is struggling and probably struggling more than what they lead on, or if things are starting to slip. And that's probably a great thing to why, you know, I'm a coach, not a PT, because I do check in with clients regularly. I can start to see patterns, and then I can also have more in-depth conversations of, you know, the whole, are you okay? But follow up with care, not just like a friend being like, oh, are you okay? And hoping you say yes so that you don't have to jump into a conversation. So more about that, because I do also have tools that I have learned that obviously can help in certain situations.
And those tools, they're invaluable. And I think through experience as well is what creates a good coach. It's just like a perfect client doesn't make you a good coach, because you need to actually work with people who have problems that you have to overcome, because you're never going to get, now and again, you get someone who's a little bit more robotic, shall we say, and that's great, but you're not really developing that skill set as a coach. Being able to connect with clients, I think something that's invaluable is that empathy, the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes or position and feel what they feel and relate it. And not because you can just say, hey, I know how you feel, but you can actually help them guide themselves in a better direction. And you also mentioned before about when you were struggling, you tried things like keto, you tried things like carnivore, and we laugh because it's everything that we tell clients not to do, right?
Absolutely.
Because the education expands greater than looking at nutrition in a microcosm. But also, I think there is a benefit to that too, which is if you have done it, you can say, look, well, even though on paper it doesn't make sense when you look at things logistically and use some logic, but knowing what it feels like to go through it, and then also being like, look, I have done that. I think that adds a level of respect for the client, because the client can go, well, you know what, you have at least tried it. Not that you should have to try things that are necessarily deleterious to your health, but it really sets the tone.
Exactly, because when you're in that moment, you don't think about any of that. You just want to feel good, right? And like medicine is food. You know what I mean? So when people aren't feeling good, we do like, it's like we're drowning and we're scrambling. We're trying to get an outcome. So I can definitely understand when people are freaking out and they stop eating, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm just going to stop eating, because they're not consciously thinking about it. They just want that outcome because they either don't, they're probably going through a moment where they don't feel anything inside, or they're feeling really shit about themselves and horrible. It's so easy to kind of emotionally jump to something and build like an attachment to it. It's kind of like where people start doing like intermittent fasting. And because they have gotten, so we know intermittent fasting is literally just reducing your calories in a, in a controlled environment that people won't be eating over, right? Because you can't have so many calories in such a small amount of time for the average person. Whereas, whereas for them, because they have done it and they've felt a bit of a win from it, because they may have jumped on the scale the next day and been lighter, they don't understand the mechanisms of what fasting is or what a calorie deficit is. But they have got that little hit of a dopamine that I've done this a certain way and like it's worked for me. So then they have then created in their mind like this must be how it works. Like this is what I need to do.
Loop.
Yeah, they've had that positive feedback loop. So it's then kind of like coming into it and being like, okay, yep, but these are the reasons why, kind of, and breaking it down that way to then be able to then guide people outside of that. Because yes, it might work, yes, in the short run, and they've had a bit of a win on it, but what is it going to do for them, their benefits health-wise, but also their goals and everything that they're doing outside of it long term?
Yeah, so I think like what you said there, I liked people just want to feel something.
Yeah.
Throughout that level. So sometimes doing something more volatile or extremist is just a way to feel something at that point.
Yeah.
And then obviously if it's then backed up with something that gives them a positive change in the short term, it becomes reinforced and then the cycle continues.
Yeah.
100%. For the astute listener, you mentioned before about buying yourself a Sylvia. So we've got to dive into this.
Yes.
So with cars, why the Sylvia? And have you always had a thing for cars? And if anything, specifically Japanese cars?
Yes.
Yeah, Japanese
My
imports.
Rice burners.
Yes. Rice burners. Fast and Furious. Ding, ding, ding.
I've always been into cars, but it's definitely been the Japanese imports. Sylvias, and also Skylines. The car that I did want, we actually share something in common. Our favorite car, the Celica, Toyota Celica. I don't know. I love everything about it and the shape.
Classic.
Absolutely. I also love Subarus, so WRX, so boxer engine. So yeah,
You have to clarify though. It's the first Celica that came out, the one that looks like a wedge or a Lamborghini, or it did in my eyes, not the round light ones.
No, not the one with the round lights. No, the one that does look like a cheese
wedge.
Cheese wedge. Yeah. A cheese wedge, yeah.
But with some modifications, it's one hell of a cheese wedge.
Definitely. And look, won't even lie, that's Celica was my 18th birthday cake. Was a Celica.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So do you remember what color it was?
Red.
Yeah. Is that what you would have had? A red Celica?
Probably back then. Maybe red or silver.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, but definitely, yeah. So definitely, sorry, back to that. Yes, loved, loved the cars, loved the drifting scene. Way back, we used to have in Broad Beach. It used to be so where it's now Broad Beach Parklands. It used to actually be a massive car park, and every Saturday night we would be going there. And it was kind of like Tokyo Drift in a way, and like not the drag races, but you'd go there and just check out other people's cars and everything. So it was actually a big kind of car scene back then. Yeah, and we used to always go to that as well. Yeah. But my car was purple, so the Sylvia was silver, but with all the mods that was done to it, ended up being purple, lowered body kit, white rims, 22-inch.
Textbook.
Yeah, 2.5 exhaust, yeah.
I was going to say, make a nice noise.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful turboed.
What other cars did you have? Do you have anything else?
Yes, and Skyline, so 34. Yeah.
Which now is just, that would be an investment, wouldn't it, really?
I know.
If we'd only knew
And to be
to
fair,
keep the
like
skylines.
even for the Sylvia back then.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Actually, they go for a bit now too.
yeah, but I did. I think I bought it for $4,000. Invested in $6,000 into it to have all the mods done, and then I sold it. Maybe I think I had it for maybe 4 or 5 years, and that was definitely my best car, my favorite car, because I went through that whole process as well. So once it was sold, sold it for the same amount for 10. So I didn't actually lose money on it. Did sell it to a P plater just before that whole turbo law came out, where you can't, if you're a P plater, you can't have turbo. So like got in just when that was on the brink, but yeah, I didn't lose any money on it. So after 5 years, it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
But now they're like what, 50, 60
Yeah, if they're clean
K if they're clean.
and they're looked after, yeah, they go for quite a bit. And I think the Skylines are over 100 grand now, depending on the model you've got. And again, the Ks and whatnot. But yeah, it's ridiculous. They're just a thing of the past, sadly, but iconic cars. Which raises the question then, if you could have one again, would you go back and have the Sylvia and have that exact combination, color-wise, modifications, or would you choose
No, I
another
would go
Japanese
for a
import?
Salady. So that is a Sylvia back, so an S13 back and a 180 front. So it's like a car, like cut in half. Yeah, I'd go for that because I love the lights on the Saladies, the pop lights, and I love the back of the S13. Probably still have it purple, probably still have white rims.
It's a classic combination. And now it just lives on Gran Turismo 5. I recreated it for her
He actually did.
to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a car.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a car. It's very fast, which is cool. Do you have any other passions or I guess things that you're interested in or into outside of fitness that would surprise people? Not that really cars should, but I do think a lot of people these days would not expect women in the fitness industry to be into cars. Well, not Japanese, like yes, cars because of, every girl gets the Merc and all this, and it's the same shit. But Japanese imports is, if you're into those, you're into cars. You're properly into cars. It's like people who are into Formula One. You're like, are you into Formula One because you watch Drive to Survive? Then you're not really into Formula One. If you're into Formula One, you were following it before then. That sort of stuff. Was anything else?
Probably that I'm into. No, I like do have like obviously little hobbies that kind of pop up and go, but nothing really. No, nothing really that kind of sparks a little mindset now. You'd probably know because I'm kind of ADHD and I'm doing something very different by the day. So yeah.
I think it's the chapter at the minute though is very much all hands on deck.
It is,
isn't it, with business? And it's very consuming. And if anything, it's like making time for things that we love a little bit more. I think experiences is a big one.
Yeah.
What would you say out of your experiences so far that you've had that are some of the most iconic or your favorite? I'm saying iconic in terms of the thing that you always go back to that's very memorable, that's left a positive impression. You said, you always wanted to have some positive experiences and memories. What are some that have stuck with you and for what reason?
To be fair, as much as it's not a positive memory, the depression's definitely a positive memory because I was able to, I've learned so much about myself from it, but not only from that, because it's something that I take into every year. So my 12 good memories, I do that every year now because every year has to be better than the last year. So it's kind of like I've now kind of used it as a game for myself. And it's still the same thing. Like it's still like on my spreadsheet. So even in my business.
Loves a spreadsheet.
Loves a spreadsheet. That's actually probably, yeah, I can definitely get lost in a good spreadsheet. So even in my business spreadsheet, so I've got, like my weekly tracker, I've got like all of that. But you've seen it, hey, my overview one. So I've actually got one of all the 12 months and I list in those 12 months, I've got lists of everything that I've done in that month, all my memories. So every year I just have to top those memories and we're, pretty good. So probably
is there anything that you got your eyes on the horizon, a specific memory, just in the foreseeable future on any timeline?
to come, like that I'm looking forward to.
Something that you're like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this memory or this experience that you're aware of.
Probably yes and also no. So our Dubai trip. So definitely one, looking forward to it because I've not been anywhere, but also not looking forward to it because I've not been anywhere. So it's going to, obviously, I'm going to learn a lot about myself in that process as well, because I'm like, as you know, I need to be routine. I need to, like, I've kind of set myself up that way so that I'm always kind of managing myself in one way or another in a positive light, not to take anything away from that. But then also, yeah, definitely being able to go somewhere on the fly, not really have my set routine or my set gym or anything like that. I'm excited to learn about how I cope through that, but then also the tools that I'm going to learn within that as well. And also scared shitless because, not done traveling before, and yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting venture for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it's the unknown is scary, but also it's good that you're fearful, nervous, apprehensive. I mean, one, we are creatures of habit for sure, definitely, being physique athletes, we're very regimented, very routine. But I also think it's good to have that nervousness and that factor, because if you had nothing and you just felt numb, it means you don't care at all. And you don't care enough about your current situation, never mind the one that you're going into.
Yeah.
So I think it is nice to actually have that. I think we forget as humans as well that the emotions that we experience, we're not able to explain or experience them as they are. We think there's only like a handful where really we think, oh, I'm confusing fear for, nervousness or anticipation or excitement. There is actually so many other emotions, and it's good to experience them, because I think this is always an opportunity for growth and learning, because you always know, fuck, if I'm kind of feeling like this, something is coming which I am going to learn from.
Yeah.
There is something character building, and one day we'll probably all look back and go, man, I wish I could have a few more of those.
Oh, definitely.
So I think the key is sometimes to think forward, to be more present, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, or even sometimes think back as well and go, yeah, maybe when I felt like this before, what actually happened, like you said, in that year, in that time, you use it as a memory. Like, wow, we'll think about that again, but now you're in a better position.
And to be, during the year that I was depressed.
Yeah,
And
and
I
look
think
what came out of it.
But I think that that's probably the most scariest thing, right? Is to go through a whole year and not even be able to think of one good thing. Like that's pretty fucking scary if you think about it, because we're not here for a long time.
No.
So, and a lot of people, unfortunately, like that can bleed on for years, and that's years of your life literally gone that you can't get back. So,
yeah, time is a precious thing. So I think sometimes it's good to have experienced it, because then you can go, wow, well, if I can get through that, I can get through anything.
oh, it definitely put a fire under my ass, absolutely. But and it's also like, as I said, like I know my triggers and all that kind of stuff. So I now, not that it works for me, but like I can definitely manage things a lot better.
Yeah, no, it's definitely of value. 100%.
It's kind of like you have to hit that, like, what is it when you hit rock bottom to then be able to learn to take yourself up?
You need to know where the limits are. Up, down, left, backwards, sideways, and upside down is always good.
Back to front.
Back to front. That's it. I'm just doing a different spin on it. Anti-clockwise, whatever you want to call it. You're back in the game. This time around, because you mentioned, you were in personal training, you came out of it, then you went back into it. What is different this time around, apart from what you've already just mentioned, the mindset shifts? What has changed? One thing that came to mind for me is you said about, you thought it was just about personal training, but then you were like, fuck, it's the smallest part of it, coaching, because you have to be a business owner, right? And there's all these unexpected things that you have to learn about. So that's what I'm thinking, but what has changed in your mind, and how is Krystal now a different version, and what has helped you thrive in this next chapter, if you will?
I would probably say, if we're talking about when I left the fitness industry in 2010 to then come back into it only a few years ago, to an extent, I do obviously still have these days where things can get on top of me, but now I run my business. My business doesn't run me, meaning that I am not just saying yes to any times and any clients and stuff like that, because I now know who I am and I know what value I bring and what I actually do, and I've got a whole, system set up, it's now a business. So it's like obviously like it's in regards to pleasantries. So everything is now structured. So I say no a lot more. And then I'm actually able to build out the business and actually be able to help people this time round. Whereas beforehand, definitely just being, the people pleaser and just doing whatever people wanted and burning myself into the ground and all the rest of it. I don't do that, half as much as what I used to. Do definitely slip up and have my moments, but then straight away when I pick up on it, I'm like, fuck, Krystal, I get that little angry moment, but then I can turn it around really, really quick again. But I think that also comes from learning about business when I was dealing with business and banking as well.
Yeah, so there's a lot of transferable skills.
Yeah, so whereas I think back then, because I just loved it and I had passion for it, it was more like it was my job, but I was probably looking at it more as like my hobby. Like I just wanted to be there and help everyone. Yeah. Whereas now it's like, no, like there's definitely that side of Krystal, absolutely, but there's the business side, and the business side needs to be taken care of first for me to then be able to be that person and be that coach for everyone else.
So what tools have you implemented to be able to manage that?
Obviously like my schedule, but had to, one of your terms that you absolutely love is reverse engineer it to how I want things to be. So reverse engineer to how I want my day to look like, set it up that way, figure out, when I've got most energy, stuff like that, and the tasks that I can do within that. And not only that, being married, I guess, to my diary as well in regards to having everything set the same week on week as well. Yeah.
So like systems, processes,
yes,
structure.
Definitely. Which is crazy, right? Because you think when you are just doing, when you're personal training or coaching, it's very much client coach relationship, which is absolutely correct. But it's everything that you do outside of that. You have to then tack that onto your hours as well. So there's so much more than just having someone present with you.
I think that's the biggest irony, isn't it? Because we spend all this time just wanting to do the thing that we love to do, which is coach, or at least talk about things which are coaching related, which helps clients overcome problems, which is like content creation, whether it's this long form, short form.
That.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. And just being able to coach. But it's almost like you need all of this stuff in the back end to achieve the front end stuff, which people never see. People never see. And I think it's being talked about a lot more now.
Yeah.
But I still think it's not quite described properly in terms of what it takes, because I think a lot of people, we see the turnover of trainers and the quality of trainers and coaches and whatever you want to call yourself within that same spectrum. But I think the problem is people are set up to fail because the expectation's not set. The skills are not embedded. The structures aren't there to support people. And you either go in, like me and you did, and you do your best, and then you end up actually learning from other jobs and experiences. Then you carry in and go, oh, okay, that's okay. Now I know I'm actually jumping off from this height, not this height, or I know I'm jumping off into water, not concrete. Like it's...
and also, like, the industry has evolved so much. Like when I first started, like their clients would have, and it was kind of like you still paid to play, so you were still paying rent to the gyms, but everyone kind of ran their business the same back then.
Yes,
and it was where you'd go and you'd see your client. Obviously, it was just face to face. You'd take them into the like the PT room, do up the measurements and everything. Their programs you deliver to them on a card, and they keep that card in the gym. So it was
I remember those days.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, and then you pick out their card and you'd be like, okay, like how was your week? So you'd pretty much do like a 5-minute kind of check-in for the week, and then be like, cool, like we're going to get into the training. They mark off their card. Yeah, so it was such. But the thing is, though, back then everyone was doing that same system. So it was kind of like
you could just rob anyone's program.
Well,
not that there was any magic in it, but
there's a Kelly, we'll just take hers.
Yeah.
But that's like literally how it was. And like now it's, yes, everyone's running their own program, but because things have evolved, like even back then when I first done my PT course, I did my PT course back in 2007 was when I did it. And there was no group, like there was small group fitness training. So it was when I learned about like the gym floor and everything, it was very old school. So it was literally pretty much just hammer strength equipment. Hammer strength equipment, dumbbells. I think maybe a kettlebell was maybe shown. No TRX. There was no booty builder, like, no booty plans, no female specific,
No reformer
no
Pilates.
boxing. Yeah, it was
No
literally
high
like,
rocks.
this is just how you train someone. But it's so funny though.
Sorry.
It's so funny though, because I still use a lot of that in what I do today, right? Because it's the basics, and the basics always outwin. So it's kind of like, in that time, there's just been so much fuckery. So now we're getting to a point now as well where people just want to go back to that simple thing, because it comes back to like the Arnold Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, right? He puts it down perfectly. Simple. Do you know what I mean? So it's like everything is simple. You get into people that are actually doing bodybuilding and doing bodybuilding well. They're doing simple shit.
Yeah, it's always the fundamentals. It's just rebranded. I mean, as much as we joke about the fuckery of it, it is all. I mean, there's only strength, flexibility, balance, coordination. There's only so many aspects of movement, and it's not to say that bodybuilding's the best, because you do need a level of mobility.
Absolutely.
And all the other things, even though ironically you can stretch under load and that helps, but it's more about your specific outcomes, right? If someone is Cirque du SLA, then you know what? They need a lot more flexibility depending on what they do in Cirque du SLA. And there's a certain amount of muscle mass, but I think it's the marketing which is taken over, because it is just, I think for the majority of these classes, which are rebranded in name, whether it's F45, etc., CrossFit, a lot of it is just high intensity interval training.
That's all it is, yeah.
Or circuit training. Or co-current training, which is what was, right? Continuous training. When you go and do sports science, you kind of realize, wow, there's only so many. It's like, I think a really good example I always use, especially for people listening, is food. There's only so many types of food, right? And they all fall into different categories, and then you can just iterate it. Like you can make chicken and rice into so many different cuisines.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously more iconic cuisines, which are, tied to, this is Italian, this is Japanese, this is Spanish. And it's not about what is wrong or right, but if people actually understood, it's just the same ingredients, but you can do it different ways, I think people would be less focused on the variety of it and more focused on, if I have this, I can do any of these things.
Yeah.
And based on my outcome, maybe I can enjoy the thing I'm doing and also the rest of it too. Yeah, it's fascinating and wild how it's gone that way, hasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely has. Yeah. But I do find though now that things are probably starting to take a shift, and it's starting to swing back the other way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm loving that I'm not seeing online so much that evidence-based, science-based training, science-based this, science-based this, because it's like, yeah, okay.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Anyone can kind of read even, let's just say, one study or whatever, and it's probably not even a meta study, just like one simple study, and like, oh yeah, it's science-based because of this one study. People don't even understand the concept of what science principles are. Or study principles are, sorry. But they just chuck science-based because it looks cool in a bio. So I'm glad that that's kind of getting washed away as well.
Yeah, correct. Because it is so many labels.
Because that's just fuckery in itself.
I mean, at the end of the day, everything is just based on years of evidence.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's anecdotal evidence repeatedly done in a controlled environment, which produces a scientific study. And then if you document it well enough, and by governing authorities, they say it's approved, it becomes a piece of literature. And I think once you do, it's like creatine. It's the most studied supplement. It's just because it's been around for that long and we've tested it for that many.
And it's also one of the most budget-friendly ones too.
Yeah, but again, it's like the bedrock, right?
Yeah.
It all goes back to basics. But I think that people think maybe that's a bit reductionist as well, isn't it?
They're trying to do things with creatine now, like with the creatine gummies and stuff like that. People are now trying to put their spin on it. But at the end of the day, just take the powder.
It's another way to make things sexy, right? Again, it's marketing. And I think there will always be, for people who always want something a little bit different, there'll always be someone to go, I can give it to you in a different way.
Yeah.
And not always a bad thing. Like if it helps people stay adherent, I think.
Absolutely.
And it keeps people fit, I've definitely changed my mind about that. For everything we've just said, there's a time and a place where it's like, hey, you know what? If that's your better outcome, great. But just don't be under the illusion that you're going to get X from Y.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a big thing as well.
Yeah.
You said something before as well. getting in front of the camera, so to speak, getting in front of many of them. I think I've been having a lot of conversations with people lately about getting in front of the camera, creating social media, overthinking it, things like that, right? And it is confronting. I know you've had your own struggles. This now evolution of you going from being more of an in-person coach to now what you didn't think you would do, becoming more of a quote-unquote online. We call it one-to-one because it still is with the technology. We can have that interaction. We spoke before about the podcast started about having a visual representation. So when you have Loom check-ins, when you have video analysis breakdowns from you, get that personalization with the client. So what was thought of online coaching needs to be re-educated. It needs to be reframed is the word I'm looking for. Because yes, if you pay for an app, you might just transparently, you get a program, you get a nutrition plan, you get part of the community, it's an automated check-in. That should be very transparent. Coaching, if you are delivering a one-to-one experience, whether your client is in Belgium, Italy, Paris, or down the road in Coomera, and you say, hey, you are going to get a video from me, I am your coach, or you are with X coach under my umbrella, you will be getting a video check-in. And we will be going through everything. I think if people understood that more, and it's something that I think me and you were trying to get across to clients more in our stories and in our content, I think people would change their mind because I know people are a bit resistant because they've had a bad experience where it is their check-in has just been, how's it going? Or very reductionist.
So with that, I kind of see that, right? So this is even how I speak to my clients because obviously I'm still doing in person and online, and people do ask me, like, oh, what's kind of the difference? Because the majority of my clients are now becoming more online.
What is the difference, Krystal?
Oh, well, Alex, I'm glad you asked. In person is more teaching the foundations. So it's more teaching structure. It's more teaching, because you're with them in that time and place, right? So it's more about feedback live in regards to training. So I always think of it training and acquisition. So that is where you put most of the time and effort if it's just in person. If it is coaching, so through the online coaching, that's when you can dive in so much deeper because literally, so they still get your time. You bring up all of their details of everything that they've mapped out. So you can actually see how their whole week has been opposed to just them giving you feedback on the day or taking you through kind of how they're feeling, right? So through online coaching, it's a holistic approach. You get to see their entire week. You can go in and view their food. You can go in and actually give them an actual graded assessment based on their entire week, and you can make informed decisions to what they need to do the next week to get to XY goal. Whereas in person, we only focus really on training, on their movement patterns, on how much they how hard they feel that they're training in that one session. So there are so many limiting factors from in person to online. So the more that I do online now, the more I'm actually enjoying it because I'm learning more about my clients and they're actually getting a lot more out of it, because you're actually looking at so much more information. But not only that, now I can have those nutritional conversations. I can teach people about their macros, about why we're doing things, going into hormones, going into so many different avenues that I was limited doing on the gym floor with having a client in front of me.
Because you've only got so much time. And it's the personal training element. And it's a really good explanation, by the way. It's a really good overview. I like that. It brings me back to sports science. One of my teachers, I'll never forget her call, was Debbie Strange, her name was. And she was a coach and she coached Olympic athletes. And she was coaching us on a section which was about coaching at high levels. And she was very biased. She was a very strong character, but I learned a lot from her. One of the things she said was, she's like, guys, the coach is the best role. Coaching is top level. She's like, because as a coach, you are, depending on the organization, you're doing the nutrition, you're doing the training, you're doing the rehab, you're doing the recovery, the hormone, like you're doing everything, or you're overseeing coaches in each sector, and you're kind of the, what's the conductor of the orchestra. You're making everything come together, and everything is working in synergy. And for someone who is of that mindset and likes that, and it's not for everybody, some people are better to play the violin or the drums or be a part of the totality of the machine, if you will. But coaching, if you have that mindset, is so fun because you are able to help people at a much deeper level.
Yes, definitely.
Because you can control all the elements and therefore you can manipulate the outcome. Where if you only see someone once a week for an hour and you have no conversations apart from maybe a 5-minute exchange about nutrition,
Yeah.
because, you are focusing on movement patterns, then yeah, that goes so far. But as we know, it's 1 hour in the gym. What about the rest of the hours? What about everything else you're doing when you're
Exactly.
outside of the gym?
Exactly.
Which is probably a bigger contributing factor.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I've actually kind of positioned even with my in-person clients is that when because now obviously stepping away from the in-person as well is more having the conversations of this is pretty much stage 1, but then stage 2 is this and this is what it looks like, and it's actually like it's more they want to like evolve into being able to do this. Because this is where they're going to get, like, honestly, the return on investment is in the coaching aspect. It's not in the one-to-one, because in coaching even, they send in technique form videos and all that kind of stuff, and how the app is now run is that, they're getting videos based on the training and technique and everything that we need them to do. So you actually get so much more in this rather than just that one-to-one session.
So you're trying to put people through almost a system where you're educating them in each aspect of it.
Yeah.
So they're able to succeed in every avenue rather than just one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like, honestly, if clients can like leave my services and I've been able to change like their lives, even, from even like, a snippet, like then that's my job done. You know what I mean? Like because with what training and nutrition and everything that I've fucking learnt now, how much it set me free from the chains that I've had on myself for all those years. If I can teach someone to let go of their chains and be able to like find freedom in training and nutrition and hit their goals, that's like, yeah, that's my job done.
So with this tangent, then this is an interesting one. If you could go back and speak to the younger Krystal when she was personal training, because you have the benefit of hindsight, to be ahead of the curve, how do you think you could get through to younger Krystal and say, hey, look, and arrive at this mindset now much earlier? Because that's kind of what we need to do for the future that we don't realize yet as well.
To be fair, I don't think I can, because 21 to 23-year-old Krystal, fuck man, I thought I was king shit. I did one bikini comp and thought I was a bikini model. You know what I mean? Like I had, pardon? As you do. Yeah, exactly. One comp and I was a comp prep coach and I knew everything.
But
no, I
do you have
definitely
your pro card though?
I definitely back then I had the like a term. I had the balls. What do you call it?
Do you?
No,
Did you?
like
Transgender.
No, no, like like the I had the,
What does it begin with?
like when someone thinks that they could like do anything.
Belief?
Yeah, like I had that self-belief that I could do anything, like I could just make it work.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the experience.
Yeah.
So I can't be the coach I am today without all of that experience that I have had. So I can't really take a shortcut there. Do you know what I mean? Because, it would take a very special human to be that young and to go through so much life experience to then be able to coach people, in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s. So I definitely don't think I could have shortcut it anyway, the way that I did, because really even when I was competing before coming back into coaching, I was either an assistant bank manager or I was a bank manager. So I was working 40-hour weeks. I was getting up at 4 o'clock every morning to go for a walk to then prep my meals. Like my comp prep within my bank job, like that was like 5 hours a day on top of my normal 40-hour work week just to get my shit sorted to be able to compete. So for me, even taking that experience to then obviously help clients who are really time poor and to be like, cool, let's break this down. Let's go into time management. Let's see what we can do here. I wouldn't be able to do that back then. Back then, I probably would have been like, oh, well, everyone's got 24 hours in a day. Like everyone's got, it's just make it work. Do you know what I mean? And this is unfortunately the advice that younger coaches do give, because I've not experienced anything different.
I appreciate your honesty.
That's okay.
That's good. It's refreshing. I think a lot of people would try to spin it a little bit differently, where sometimes we are exactly where we're meant to be.
Yeah.
And you need a certain level of life experience, I think, to be able to, as we said before, empathize.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to getting in front of the camera,
Oh, yeah.
what are some struggles that you've had with that, and how has your mindset changed
It
between
probably,
getting in front of the camera? Because like you said, now you have to, because you're able to educate people at a higher level, and that is part and parcel of the process.
yeah. I think what it probably comes down to now, and like now I'm obviously getting a lot better because I'm just doing it. So I would say probably some blockages that I have had is definitely the comparing analysis paralysis or whatever it is. So comparing myself probably even to maybe not really younger coaches, but to, let's say, athletes who have done well for themselves. So being like, oh, like they're posting all this amazing content. So let's even say back a few months where, and to be very frank, I'm only just putting effort in now. I never put effort into my social media. So I never failed at anything because I never fucking tried. So now I'm putting effort in. So beforehand, I was just coming up with excuses because really it wasn't important to me. So just to be very frank there. But the excuses that I was coming up with was, I would see social media profiles of coaches who are also athletes, and they're, obviously posting all the stuff and they're looking amazing, right? So their work's doing good. At the end of the day, where my mindset was as well is I've been running my business now 5 years and I've been successful every year, and I don't have an online presence. So I've got online clients, I've got in-person clients, but I've never really fought for a client. You know what I mean? So it's all my clients have come through either referrals or they've, seeked me out one way or another, whether it's in the gym or just messaging me online. So
Not paid advertising or
no, none of
from
that.
having
So
a
I've
big
never needed to do anything like that. Where now, of course, I'm wanting to branch out and try new things as well. And I'm using more now, getting into social media and getting in front of the camera more as a personal development for me as well, because I know how much it does impact my clients. So now I'm actually looking at it from a different lens. But going back to even not comparing, but seeing other coaches and seeing, or them do this kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. So in my head, I was like, okay, I need to do all this other stuff. Oh, am I getting out the right message? Then of course you go into ChatGPT and you're doing the whole like, oh, what should I be posting about? And then that whole thing comes up. So it's just way too much information. And if something is too hard to a point where I'm like, you know what, I'm not really don't really care for it, and if it's too hard, I'm not going to do it, like anyone, because we're human. So now pretty much I'm just posting like things that my clients just struggle with, and I don't really care. I don't care for the likes or the virals or the views or anything like that, but I do care if my clients watch it. So I'm now just creating content for my clients, and that's kind of what gets me through, because then I don't have to overthink it, don't have to try to use AI to print me like somewhat of a script for me to say stuff that doesn't sound like me anyway, or the words that I would use. And probably a good thing that I've definitely picked up since going down the kind of AI road was that a lot of the coaches that I was looking at the profiles and going, oh, to get ideas, or oh, they're doing amazing, they're all using AI because it's scripted. It's completely scripted because it's the same thing that ChatGPT or Claude's like pulling out for me is what they're using. So yeah, and I've met a lot of these people in person, and a lot of them can't even hold a conversation with me. So I'm like, cool. So it's just like social media is just one big game, unfortunately, but it's not a game that I'm willing to play. So I'm just posting content for my clients, and if I help someone out who's not my client, perfect. If I help them get a lift that maybe that they didn't know how to do before, perfect. That's my job done.
You're focusing more on making sure you provide value
For my clients, yep. And for anyone who needs it, or even the 23-year-old Krystal that was struggling back then.
solving problems that are tangible,
Yeah.
that people can actually put into practice and get a meaningful takeaway from. Building an audience that you can service as well,
Yeah.
I think is a big thing. Not just posting something for it to go viral, but it has to have some outcome.
Yeah. I think the thing that I actually struggle with more so is actually just posting anything that is personal. Like as in, I think the only personal posts that I have on my page is when you've collabed with me and it's like photos of what we've maybe done on the weekend. But I think that's also because I don't, like if we're going out somewhere, you're the one with the phone taking the photos, you know what I mean? And it's because you remember to do so.
Yeah.
I just don't, I could just not have my phone on me and I wouldn't even know. Like it's, yeah.
Which is not a bad thing.
No.
Because you should be present in the moment as well. I think it's finding the happy medium. And sometimes there's a place for no phones at all, and there's sometimes a place to document the journey because that's what people really connect with. I think that's something I've learned as well online is showing not just the highlights, but kind of showing a bit of everything.
Definitely. Oh, there's so much stuff that I could, obviously could be posting, but I will think of it as soon as the time's pass and be like, I probably should have recorded that. But
I think it's a habit as well. And it's something that,
definitely
that will continually evolve, just like the personal training and the coaching.
And I guess it also comes down to a point where it's not entirely important to me enough for me to make a change in it at the moment. Time will, down the track, it definitely probably will change, but at the moment it's not really high on my priority list.
For the people watching,
yes,
and they should be watching, there is a Physiques by Alex Towell, which looks like a bit of branded advertising, but it has another purpose. And for people who've been tuning in to the new episodes, they will know we have a segment now, which is where a guest brings along an item of sentimental value, whatever that may be. You've brought something along. Can you unveil it and tell us what it is and why it holds meaning?
Okay, cool. So I'm going to first tell you that so last night you were trying to guess what I was going to bring and you had such good reasonings for a few things. Yep.
This is my own game, by the way.
Yeah.
The whole point is for me not to guess this. I just like to try to apprehend if I know a guest.
You've seen it though. Were you surprised that I bought this?
No.
You're not surprised?
No, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
But okay.
But that's only because, I mean, look, we live together. This is a different scenario than a lot of guests. Queen of Silk.
No, but it's really, it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely my sense.
That's quality. I actually saw just very quickly, speaking of advertising and marketing gone wrong, there's a lot of companies now that are saying these particular brands, Creed, etc., Louis Vuitton, the fragrances don't last. They're like, no, they don't last, this, that, and the other. And then there's these brands that have kind of now created mimics, and they're like, ours lasts longer, it's made from better ingredients. Anyone who knows fragrances knows that, once again, just like fad diets, it's a whole load of shit. Because when you understand what goes into the ingredient profile of these, they certainly don't last a few hours. They linger on. But anyway, side tangent.
Yeah. Okay, so you kind of actually touched on one of the reasons why I bought it. I bought it and brought it today. So
tell us.
Okay, so this is Creed perfume. Now, this is the first luxury item I have ever purchased for myself, full stop, at 36 years old. So, this is the first thing that I've purchased for myself. Now, why I love it, so there's a couple of things. And one idea you actually gave me, Alex, because you also use Creed. You've got a Creed. And you say, you say that when you spray it, you become, it's part of your uniform. You become this new, this other person, right? It kind of
Well, it enhances me. I have to step up.
Exactly. You
to
have
the person who wears the fragrance.
Exactly. So that is definitely one thing that I love about it. But for me, with this particular one, and just talking about before, about dupes. Now, I have had dupes of other fragrances in the past. I think I've even had one of maybe the Creed Aventus, had one. And it was actually a conversation that we had way back when we were both working at EMF. And I think I was telling you about the dupes and you're like, oh, I would never buy it. And for those reasons that you just said. And it literally made me think. So one, I never saw myself as the kind of person that would ever purchase a perfume, let alone one that costs over $500. And two, I think it was because one, I probably didn't think that I was worthy of spending that much money on just a scent. So I didn't really tie any value to it. But then then I was like, okay, cool. But I still wanted to smell nice. I still wanted the smell. I just didn't want the price tag. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy the dupes. And obviously bought the dupes and the dupes went as great. But having a conversation with you, now we had a conversation years ago about dupes and about like how it belittles the actual thing that it is, but then also it's like that shit, like a kind of puts like a dampen on it, right? So
It's almost more of an insult to try and replicate
yes.
something. If you're going to replicate something, do it in a way that complements the original, or
Yeah.
do it fucking better.
Yeah, but not only that, it's kind of like in a way you're cheating to get the outcome. That's how I see it. So for me, for me, like after that conversation, I remember I threw out all the dupes and I didn't wear any scent for so long. And I was like, I'm going to save up for this first. Like I'm going to save up for it. So I literally saved up for it and purchased it. And now like it holds so much meaning to me. But it definitely means it holds that like instead of spending your money on shit or instead of like trying to buy the fake thing, if you want the actual thing, save up, like work your ass off, save up and get the real thing because there is so much more meaning and so much more value to it. And I guess you can also put that into training and what we do in coaching and all the rest of it. But that is definitely something that I've definitely taken on in every aspect of my life. But yeah, that's why it holds meaning to me because it's like you work for what you get, you put in what you put out. And yeah, don't belittle yourself into thinking you're not worthy of things, especially if you want them. So don't settle for anything less because you don't feel that you deserve anything less if that's the actual thing that you want.
Yeah, so that's a good perspective.
Yeah.
And what is it about Queen of Silk specifically? Because there are a few different scents, obviously. Apart from the fact you like the smell of it, what is it about this perfume that hits? Because I know for a lot of people, when you smell something, it unlocks memory, or sometimes it elicits a response. Their whole links always say never underestimate the power of smell, and I love that because I do think it adds another dimension. And we were talking before about different dimensions. You know, you got the visual, you got the sound, you got the touch, and you got the olfactory system, the taste and the smell, and I think it does add another layer. What is it about this that kind of hits? Is there something that it sort of brings up within you that you're like, oh yeah?
Yeah, I think for me, it probably comes down to the smell of it. For me, probably even takes me back to the banking days because like when I was in the banking days, I was wearing 6-inch heels. I was wearing a suit, whether it be a 3-piece suit, whether it be like dress and a jacket, but I was always in a suit. So maybe it takes me back to my corporate days in a more of a professional sense because I hold myself up to a very, very high standard through everything I do, and especially in my coaching. Like when I'm with a client, I'm very professional. So I think I own that. Like you will not see me be unprofessional with a client unless it's Leon. But I'm very invested in that client. So I think that that's what it kind of takes me back to is those days where to an extent, like I did, I was in a, powerful role. Like I felt like just probably doesn't feel just not putting anything down or anything, but like more of like my powerful scent back then. So it kind of takes me back to when I was kind of owning my shit. Yeah. In a powerful position. So I kind of take that into my everyday. That way I'm always leading from the front. I'm leading my clients from the front.
It's almost like a mental cue.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like you spray it on, you're like, oh, I'm there. It's another thing that safeguards it.
Definitely.
Or brings it on. And I think to be transparent as well, for people listening, we all start somewhere.
Yes.
And both me and you have started from not much money. So,
No.
you do buy the dupes in the early days, but I think the key thing is what you said is it's more about the message behind that instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's worth sometimes waiting to get, if you want the real thing, sometimes put the time in to it. And sometimes you need to get the dupes to realize, you know what,
Yeah.
Maybe it
But
wasn't that
and
great.
it's like that everything in life, right? Like if you are, if you go to someone who's like just throwing it out there coaching, because I've personally done it where you have, you've probably gone with a coach because they were cheaper. I have definitely done it. And then you come out of it not loving the experience and kind of, you probably would have just saved up and actually purchased the coach that you wanted to go with or something like that. So it just kind of solidifies to me, like, don't make a decision based on kind of what life's thrown at you at that time. Like, just hold it and obviously if you need to save, if you need time to wait to invest or anything in life, like just don't make a rash decision based on, if you feel you're going to, what is it, the instant gratification. Yeah, don't make any decisions based on instant gratification. Work for what you actually want and just get the thing that you actually want. Like, yeah, sorry, but fuck off all the dupes of anything in life.
Hear, hear. That's the dramatic irony as well. You buy cheap, you buy twice, and you end up sometimes wasting more time. Which,
Well, fuck, that was where I was going with all that.
Yeah. No, but like it's good. That's just what I'm articulating.
No, but that's exactly what I was trying to articulate.
Just
not had enough coffee.
It's all right, we're getting it. I've got another one for you. But it's so true, and time is money. And sometimes you can just waste so much time. We spoke about that lately, investing in people, resources, or education that can get you to where you want to go because they're the real deal. So, yeah. No, you don't always pay for what you get for, but there's a reason why in life certain things are more expensive.
Yes.
And that's, at the end of the day, it's premium. I appreciate you bringing that in. Thank you.
Thanks, yeah.
So, I don't know how much that means to you as well. So that's, I think it's very fitting. And I'm proud of you for doing that and continuing on that. To finish off with some more curious questions, which we often do, a little bit more fun and slapstick in nature. One that I'll always ask, I really find it hard to substitute this question because it percolates so much curiosity in myself and in that of the listeners.
I feel this is a setup.
What, like when you set me up to eat lamb's brains?
That was so good.
That's another story for another time. We'll come back to that.
I got you good on that one.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, look, it could have been worse. It looked like a testicle. It looked like it was going to be something a lot more volatile, but anyway. Yeah, you gotta try it. Okay. I don't know if I got smarter from that. Maybe, I don't know. But lamb, generally, sheep are not known for being intelligent, are they? Contrary to the movie we just watched. If you could choose to live forever, would you?
No.
Why?
Because there's also something beautiful in taking on, like, living in the moment, taking the experience and knowing that there is some end date at some point. So getting the most out of everything, getting the most out of every day.
So because you've answered that question, this leads me to the second curious question, which is, what would you have if you knew your end point? What would be your last meal? To put a positive spin on a pretty dark question, what would be, Q's already got it figured out, but we're talking crumpets. Now, that'd be part of it. And you can have it whatever you want. It doesn't have to be just one thing. Like, I always think about 3-course meal, like entree, main, dessert, if you want it, and then obviously a drink. Fair enough, right?
Okay. Well, the drink would definitely be Maker's Mark and Coke Zero. Definitely, I'd probably start with that as well if it was my last night on Earth. I would have to go with a really decent eye fillet. I'd have to go with a steak.
Yeah.
Yep, steak. Like fries, thinking cost fries. It's like the herb, garlic kind of sort. Like, yep.
Yeah,
so,
they're different.
Yep. So the cost fries, a nice, beautiful steak.
KOST in Broadbeach. It's a restaurant just for people in the area.
It is cost, isn't it? Cost?
Yeah.
Cost?
No, it's cost. Okay. KOST. Only because I'm just thinking, people are like, what brand is that? It's a specific restaurant here in the Gold Coast.
And for dessert, I don't know, it's weird because I'm not really...
a sweet tooth.
I'm not a sweet tooth. I'm not a sweet tooth. But if I was to go with some kind of dessert, like I'd have to go with dessert if it's my last night on Earth. Like I'd have to do something.
Well, you'd think so.
Actually, we spoke about this the other day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
I have an idea. But It's
My
not for me
last
to
meal.
guess.
Yeah, you don't try to. I would go with scones.
Specifically with raisins in.
Specifically with raisins in, scones with butter. No, scones with jam and
Whipped cream.
whipped cream.
It's very British.
That would be.
It's a classic fucking combo. There's not enough scones in this world,
Yeah.
I tell you. That's the other category of when we think about crumpets. We talk about English muffins.
Yeah.
What's the other one now that we use? Rice cakes. But I feel like there's another one there. But scones is no, there's something else. I think you love them. Hot cross buns. You know, it's like another iteration, but a scone. People forget about the scone. It's a classic.
It's
a great way to get some calories in. If you could solve one of the world's most prevalent problems, I'll give you a few, like, for example, curing cancer, world hunger, etc., and you had the power to do that, is there something close to your heart or just something that you're passionate about that you would solve? It could be obesity. It doesn't have to be relevant to fitness. Obviously, it's going to be something in relation to a positive outcome, but is there any that if you just, I can get rid of that. It's not even a thing. Might be Alzheimer's, neurological, decline, like anything like that. Autoimmune diseases, I should say.
No, mine's gone blank. I just like a good puzzle. So I'm not.
What has that got to do with that?
No, you said solve, and I just went to puzzles.
That's such a Krystal answer, though. I have no empathy. I just want everyone to die.
I'm just kind of thinking, like, fucking, there's your short. Listen to that. Curious Conversations. You hear it here first.
Anyone, I just want to do puzzles.
That's literally, you just said solve, and I just went to like a board puzzle.
I think that'd be like a Mission Impossible scene, isn't it? Solve the puzzle or we all die. I'm sure that I can put a spin on this.
Yeah, put me in a panic room, guys. I'm there. I'm definitely there.
Just trying to think how this relates. I mean, but all problems are puzzles. So
yeah, but that's like a fun puzzle. Sorry, I just kind of
fuck those people dying of
exploded that
cancer.
one for you. No, of course.
No,
like,
mate, I'll be over
cancer.
here fucking putting Little Mermaid back together, all right? Just
Fuck you, little Timmy. Take your bum cancer elsewhere. I got puzzles to solve.
literally, wow.
like
Tell me how you really feel.
of course, like 100. But the thing is,
there's
though,
no limits
No,
on
but
this
the thing is,
podcast.
though, I do honestly feel that they probably should have like cured cancer by now.
Yeah, well,
and with
that's
things
another
that are
story whether we
obviously
can
coming out,
actually do that.
there's been held back and all the rest of it. So
Peptides, what?
yeah, so yeah, I think just keep the medical with the medical and just give me a board puzzle.
All right,
Okay,
let's wrap up with, so now you know she likes puzzles. Right, edit that out, please. Let's
Not to help anyone.
all right, next curious question. Finish off with this. If this is a more serious one now, okay?
Okay.
So
Okay.
pull yourself together. No. It's good. If you could send out a message to anyone and it's going to get on their device, it's going to come up on their device, whether it's through social media, Facebook, whether it's a message app, whatever, it will 100% land on everyone's phone. They will see it. They will read it. It can be a short message or it could be an image. What is something that you'd want everyone to see? It could be something you want people to be aware of, maybe some introspection. It could be even something just to make them laugh. It could be a fucking puzzle, whatever. Like, what would you want if you had that ability now? It's like the ultimate marketing tool. Everyone's going to get it on their phone at some point and you have their attention, which is the highest currency these days, it seems.
It would be something like remember to be kind today or something. So it'd be something definitely about just being kind to one another. Yeah. So something just like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's not a lot of that. Well,
Yeah.
there is, but I feel it's something that I know that we value.
Yes.
So we spend more time on this planet, but I think it's something that almost has gone a little bit the opposite way as humans have become a bit dog eat dog, and
Yep. Definitely.
there's a lot less kindness in the world, so it seems, which is
So
an
just something
interesting
like,
side of things.
remember to, be kind to someone today, or pay it forward. Even just that, just pay it forward.
I like it.
Yeah.
And speaking of paying it forward, if people want to follow along with you and they want to see what you're up to with your journey, with the problems you're solving on your social media, or they perhaps want to work with you and have that proper level of premium coaching,
Yeah.
where can they find you?
Just on Instagram under Built by Krystal, and they will find me.
Thank you for joining. I
okay.
appreciate the chat and the conversation.
Thank you.
Solving the world's problems via puzzles. Always great. Guys, thanks for tuning in as always to another curious conversation. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you to subscribe for more. And if you found this enjoyable, then share it. And as Krystal said, pay it forward. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.